Hello, in this video, I'm going to walk you through the owner-operator trucking dispatch accounting and settlement system that I sell on my website. So if you're interested, check out the link in the description. So this system is designed for owner-operators and small trucking businesses who want a clean, structured way to manage dispatch, trip costs, driver pay and settlement reports, and overall business financials, including overhead expenses, using Google Sheet and Excel. So I also offered a more advanced system specifically built for auto transport companies, which include deeper automation and customization. So this system is intended specifically designed to be more accessible and flexible for general trucking operation, such as flatbed, dry van, reefer, and other non-specialized freight. So it works well whether you are the owner driving the truck or managing multiple drivers and trucks, all right? So I saw this on my website, and let me show you the two versions that I sell. So I sell the Pro and the Standard. In both versions, when you buy them, you get two files. You get the Google Sheet file and the Excel 2024 or later versions. All right, and so in the Standard, if you buy the Standard, you get everything you need to do your work, but you don't have as much automation. All right, so in the Pro version, you get everything the standard, but you get more automation and you get advanced analysis, such as the truck and driver pay and performance summary. So in this two analysis, the truck and the driver pay, you can see this information daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or annually. So it's very flexible. Okay. So let me go back and show you what you get. You purchase the Pro version, you get 9 tabs, and if you purchase the standard version, it just works the same, but you get less tabs and no automation. All right, so the first tab is the Setup tab. So this is where you go and you would enter in your company information, and then you can select the fiscal year, the calendar year that you're working on, okay? The reason why you need to update this is because it updates to the financial summary here. So just make sure you update to the correct fiscal year or calendar year that you're working on. And then this system, it supports up to 20 trucks and 20 drivers. So if you need more than that, just reach out to us to customize this template. And here's where you input in your truck number or truck ID up to 20. And here's where you input the driver name up to 20 and their phone number, email address, street, and city. The reason why I need to add this because it flows to the settlement report, which it will go over here, right there. All right. And then down here you can set up the load expense type. So this is, you can edit this according to your business needs. So you can update this up to 20 description for load specific expenses. And then the driver addition and deduction, you can update this description according to your business needs. So you can update 10 of this. So this information here will flow to the settlement report as well. So it'll be down here. So you can write any description you like, all right? Alright, so once you're done setting this up and you're happy with it, then you can move to the master dispatch. So this is where you'd enter in all your load information, your load revenue, your pass-through fees, your driver share, and then finally you'll calculate the truck gross. Alright. So here you can enter in the load date. If you use this in Google Sheet, you can click on it and a mini calendar will pop up, which is very nice. And you can enter in your load number or load ID. Then you can pick the driver name. So this drop-down menu comes from the setup tab that we set up earlier. And the truck ID, same thing. You can pick the truck number or truck ID. Drop-down menu comes from the setup tab. And then trailer type, you can pick any trailer type, flatbed, dry van, box, reefer, power only, and then you can put origin, destination, then you can describe the commodity, and you can put the empty mile and loaded miles, and it'll calculate the total miles based on your inputs here. And then tarp or non-tarp is just, you know, some flatbed, if it's, you know, sometimes it can be tarped, so that means that the driver works a little bit more, and sometimes they get paid for that. And you can select that if you want. And then reefer temp here, you can put the reefer temperature if you work with reefer. And then here you can log in the load revenue. This is exaggerated, I'll just make it 5K. And then here you can record again the load revenue for that load, and then the broker fee, factoring fee, other fees. So these are your pass-through fees, and it'll calculate your total fees based on what you've input here. And then this is your clean gross. And then pay type. So for this is for the driver, you can pay them based on a percentage, or you can pay them based on a rate per mile. You can put 65 cents. So just take that 65 cents and it'll calculate the total miles. All right. Or if you pay them based on a flat rate, regardless of the effort they put in. So let's say you pay in 300 for that load, you can put that as well, and then you see it says flat rate, and that's the driver pay. And then if you pay them extra, let's say the flatbed is tarped, and you have to pay them extra, maybe $50 for extra work, so they get 350. But you don't have extra pay, then you can just leave it blank. Oops. You can leave this blank here, and I'll just put this back to percentage. And I want to go ahead and explain something real quick. And I built this template for flexibility because different businesses have different situation, right? And different understanding of the word clean growth, all right? So clean growth in this spreadsheet, it means, or it's defined as load revenue less broker fee, factoring fee, and other pass-through charges. So that's the definition of clean growth for this spreadsheet. But I understand that in trucking world, it could be understood differently depending on different business or different truck drivers and contracts, right? So in this spreadsheet, if you do percentage payout, it just basically takes the clean gross times that percentage, okay? And then the other thing I want to mention is that factoring fee. So some operation, they calculate driver pay before factoring cost or factoring fee. So in those cases, factoring cost may be recorded under the trip cost. So this is the trip expense. And you can leave column Q, this column here, right, empty or blank. So you can just remove it. All right. And then you won't have any factoring fee. You can remove other fee as well, and you can hide the factoring cost. All right. If you don't calculate factoring fee that way, so you could, don't put anything in column Q, and then also close it out as well. And the other thing I want to mention is factoring fee are calculated as a percentage of gross load revenue by default. So this spreadsheet, it calculates that by default. So depending on your factoring agreement, fees may be applied to either the total load amount or the net amount after broker deduction. So if your factoring company calculates fees after broker fee, adjust the gross load revenue to reflect the invoice amount so the calculated factoring fee matches your actual cost. So if your factoring fee is calculated based on net amount after broker deduction, so you basically just, take this 5K here, right? Basically remove the 150 from that amount. So this is your net amount, and don't put any broker fee there. Okay, because then this factoring fee will be 3% of this 4,850. Okay, so that's one way to do it. All right, so that's an example. So different situation varies. So read the note I've put here and adjust it according to your business needs. Ensure that you check all these numbers to make sure it's accurate. All right, and again, so this piece here is quite important because it flows to the settlement report, and I will show you that later. So just ensure that everything is calculated correctly and make sure you read the notes that I've left here, depending on your situation. All right. And then this tab here is the trip cost. So here's where you can record all of the costs related to your load or your trip. So you can record as many costs to a load as possible, as much as you want, right? So you can see I recorded 4 expenses to this load. So I recorded fuel, maintenance, reefer, tools, all right? And so basically all you do is you just select the date, and then you just pick the load, and then you pick the expense type, you put the amount, right? You record as much as you need. And then driver deduction, here's where you record the deduction in addition to the driver. So you can just select any date, you select the driver, and if it's related to a load, you can select the load, and then you can record the deduction or addition category. If it's a deduction, you just put it as a negative amount. If it's addition, or you're giving them a bonus, you just put it as a positive amount. And if the deduction is not related to a load, you don't need to select the load. So let's say you're deducting, lease or rental because they're leasing or renting a truck from you. It's not related to any load, right? So you can leave this blank, like this example that I have here. All right. And then the financial summary here, it'll summarize the data that you've input into, months, quarter, and annual data. So you can see here up here, it'll show you the overall efficiency. So it'll sum up all the miles for that month, and it'll calculate out the revenue per mile, truck gross per mile, fixed cost per mile, variable cost per mile, break even per mile, net profit per mile. And here you have a summary view, so you can see all your load revenue, your fixed business expense, variable general business expense, so these are overhead, and then the direct trip cost. All right, this is your total net profit before tax based on your inputs, of course. And this is a detailed view here. So here you can see this is the load revenue, the broker fee, factoring fee, other fee, clean gross, driver's cut, other driver pay, and then you have your truck gross. And here in the yellow section is where you input in your overhead cost, or cost that's just related to your business and not the trip. So for example, if you have rent, you can input in rent here. You have office salary that you have to pay every month, you can input them here. So these are overhead costs, your fixed overhead costs, and these are your fixed variable overhead costs. And then the trip costs that automatically pull that over based on your inputs here. So for example, January, so these are all the January data. You can see up to here, right? So we can see that from there to January, right, we have a total of $4,715, right? So this here is going to pull over 4,715, which is correct. So it's pulling all over all that information that you added for your trip cost, direct trip cost. So all you need to do on this tab is really just enter in your overhead information for your business, and then you can see what is your net profit for the month, right? So you can see here, this is the summary view, and down here is the detail view. So these two values will always be the same, the net profit, 21,533.40, and then here 21,533.40, the same, right? It's just a different view. The result should be the same. Okay, another thing I want to point out is if you don't do factoring here, right? You don't calculate factoring here, not as a pass-through fee, but you calculate as a trip cost here, then you, on your financial summary, you just need to hide this, right? So you won't have any factoring fee, because your factoring fee over here will always be zero, because you don't need to put that amount there, because you don't calculate factoring fee on the master dispatch. All right. So that's pretty cool here. So you can see it gives you the information for all the months and the quarter, and then annually. All right, so the settlement report, this is pretty automated. So you can see, you can select any driver, and then you can put in any the beginning and end date. So here I would just pick Jane Doe. Okay, let me delete this. So you select Jane Doe, and you can put any period, right? You can put 1/1/2035 to 1/31/2035, and if there's more data there, it will populate based on that. Okay, and let's see. So we need to go find Jane Doe. So you can see Jane Doe. She's only showing up for January for 7 days, right? January 1st to January 7th. So you can see that's why it show up like this, right? 7 here. And then these are all the results related to her. So for example, if you're paying her percentage, it shows up here. But let's say you pay her RPM, revenue per mile, you go here. And this is why I said just make sure this is correct, because this goes into your settlement report, right? So let's say you pay her as an RPM 65 cents per mile. So her pay is 243.75 for that load. So you come here, you can see, right, there's no more earnings. And if you don't do it by earnings, for example, you can just hide this column, right? And then you can see she's just earning 0.65 cents times 370. That's her pay, right? This period. So that's an option. So if you pay someone based on earnings, then you can close this, right? Otherwise, you can keep this open and then just close the earnings. Let me go back here and change this back to 30%. So let me show you an example where it's like flat rate, so you can see how it flows over, right? So here it flows over, right? You can see on this date she makes this, right? So that's why I say you can close this if your business pays based on a flat rate. All right, so let me put this back to 30%. All right here. So I'm just gonna close this. All right. So you can see here, and then the year to date it's the same because we're just starting out. But let me do this 2/1/2035 and then 2/15/2035. So I want to show you because the year to date will always be more than this period, unless you're at like the very beginning, right? So year to date, because it's basically adding all of her pay from 1/1 of that year through 2/15. So that's why your year to date is a bit more, right? And then it'll calculate out the fuel expenses and whatnot for the other deductions and additions. So we can see here we want it for February to February 15, right? So it basically just grabbed this data for February, right? February 1/15. So all of this here would be, the total is 1600. So we go here. So it should show 1600, but this year to date is 2100 because under driver deduction in January, Jane has another deduction, right? So 1600 plus this 500. So you get, oops, 2100. So that's why your year to date here shows 2100, so which is very nice. And then you have the year to date summary here. So if you're happy with this, right, and you input, you can also add in your stub, check number, and the pay date as well. Once you're happy with how it looks, you can go to pay stub generator and hit generate and send statement. And this is where it will generate the report, and you can see that it collapsed this. Anything that's blank, it automatically collapses it, so it makes the stuff look nicer. You don't have to do anything here, it's all automated. And here this box will pop up after it generated the PDF, and you can click on it and you can see what it looks like, right? This is what the statement will look like, sending to Jane. So this is good, you're happy with it, you can close this out. And then you can send the email. So I'll just say send an email. You can also send a copy to yourself as well, but I don't want to, so I'm just gonna send the email, right? So once you send, it just spin, and then once it's done, it disappears. And then here's where you go to your Gmail and you can check on the email. So here it's sent to me. So it'll say pay statement from sample company. Sample company comes from here. So once you update your company name, it will update that. And then period ending, it will get the period ending, which is the end date that you have, right? 2/15. And then driver opens up. This is what they see. It'll say hello Jane Doe. It comes from here, driver name, right? And it says here's your pay statement for this ending period. Best regard, your sample company. And then it'll attach the statement. And of course, you can write other messages as well. All right. If you remember when the box opened up, there's additional messages if you want to. But otherwise, this is what the driver would see. All right. So it's pretty neat. All right, and then once you send that, you can see on the settlement archive here is where you would, it will archive that data that you've just sent. So you see I can just send this, and this is the archive information where it'll archive and tell you when you send the statement, which driver, period start and end, and then stop number, check number, final pay to driver, and the recipient email. The reason why this is good is because, or having this is good is because if you need something for in the future as a reference, right? You can look back and say, okay, what did I send to this driver? How much did I pay this driver? And when did I send? What's the stop number, check number, and the amount, right? So it's good to have as a reference, all right? So it's pretty neat. Once you send it, it logs it here. So you know you've sent it. Okay, so that's basically how the earning statement works, all right? But if you buy this in the Excel version, you cannot email it. It's just the automation of Excel is not as great as Google Sheet. So in Excel, let me show you. It looks like this. You can generate and save the PDF. So you click on this and a box would open up and ask you where you want to save the file. So you can save that file, and then you need to manually open up your email and then attach that file and then send to wherever you need to send to, okay? And it also doesn't have an archive because you can't send the email. So basically in Excel, the automation is just, you can generate the PDF and you can save it into any location on your computer. All right. So I just want to point that out. All right. So that's basically how the settlement report works in Google Sheet. And the next tab is the driver performance and pay. So here is you can see all the driver that you set up, all the load number that they've had for that range that you selected, and then the load revenue, fees, clean gross, driver paid, their net deduction, and balance due to driver. So here's pretty cool because you can select by month. So if you select by month, you can select any month or all months, meaning year to date. Or if you want to see by weekly or daily, you can set up the date here, right? You can view any period you want, basically. And then, right? So it should show you for this individual, or if anybody has any data for this date, it'll show up, okay? Um, Otherwise, you can just use the other one. So that's why I said this one, you can see it by week, by month, by date, because you can enter in any start and end date you want, so which is very neat. All right, so I'm just going to move it back to monthly, and then we can see all. So these are all the driver for the whole year for 2035, and you can see the driver with the highest amount, it will have green, and the driver with the lowest amount, it will highlight red. All right. Same thing with truck performance summary. You get analysis here. You can select either you view it by month or custom range. So by month, you can select all, right? And just remove the stage here. And then you can see which truck made the most money and which truck made the least money. And it also show you the revenue per mile for that truck and truck gross per mile. Anything that's highest will be green. Anything that is red will be the lowest. Again, same thing. You can select by month, custom range. Custom range, just need to put whatever date, start and end date you want. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. You can see by day, by week, by month, by quarter, by year. You know, options unlimited, right? You can do pick whatever you want because you can enter in any 2 dates you want. So basically, that is how this system works. And again, I sell this on my website. So if you're interested, check out the link in the description. And if you want, you know, a more customized experience of this spreadsheet, reach out to us. We do customization and custom builds as well. And also, if you like to purchase this but you want to see it more thoroughly, just reach out to us and we could demo this product to you as well. We can set up a free meeting and demo this product to you as well. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or concern, don't hesitate to reach out to us.